Independence Hall. We're going for a walk. We're going to do the historic district today. Oh, look at this. This was the first White House. No, the first, was there a White House in New York? I don't know. But this is where George Washington lived when he was president. This is where John Adams lived when he was president. And, fun fact, 3 presidents lived here. John Quincy Adams, John Adams' son, he lived here too. But he wasn't president. He was a young child. The best time to come to Independence Hall is January. Now, saying that, it's Friday. The best time to come to Independence Hall when it's not a pandemic. I'm just realizing this is the first January with the pandemic. Usually there's no lines, insies, outsies. Oh, it's fantastic here. But not now because there's a virus. So what I'm doing is I'm going to have to walk to Carpenters Hall to get my Patreon subscribers their Patreon postcards. If you want to join up to Patreon, there's a link below in every video. You get a few bonus videos and postcards from Carpenters Hall. That's Independence Hall. Everybody knows about the Constitution. Everybody knows, the Constitution was signed there. Declaration of Independence, all that stuff, Here's some fun facts. There was actually a museum in the second floor of was once called the State House, but now it's called Independence Hall. But so there used to be, on the second floor, there used to be a museum owned by Charles Willson Peale, who was a portrait artist who painted all the portraits of the founding fathers. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them. And this is an important building, probably. And I'm not just saying this because of the events that happened 2 days ago, but matter of fact, I make videos here all the time and I say this. That building at the end, that building is the Senate. What is that? What's the name of that building? Congress Hall. Congress Hall. So this is where the Congress and the Senate met for the 10 years Philadelphia was the capital of the United States. So in this building, this is where George Washington transferred power peacefully to John Adams. And believe it or not, there are some historians that the Declaration of Independence is important, the Constitution's important, but we weren't really a democracy. Well, we were a democracy. Listen, I'm not a fucking professor, so don't. But the ultimate act of democracy is when a president transfers power peacefully. And the first time that ever happened was probably behind that window right there, where John Adams was sworn in as president. With all these buildings. That street down there, that's Jewelers Row, or what's how you doing? Just a pedestrian. Kill me, it's okay. This is the Curtis Publishing Building. It was the biggest magazine publisher, or one of the biggest magazine publishing buildings in the country in the early 1900s. Norman Rockwell worked here. The word living room was invented in this building. One of the writers in one of the magazines came up with the word living room. And if you go in here, they have the second biggest glass mosaic piece of artwork. Isn't that pretty? Just want to. That's open to the public. You can just go in there and do that. All right. Now, what do? We're going to go this way. All right, so now we're at 6th and Walnut. The Penn Mitchell, that used to be the debtor's prison. Back in the colonial times, they didn't have credit bureau people to call you all the time to get payments. What they did, they knew that you wouldn't answer the phone back then. So what they did is they threw you in jail for not paying your debt. One of the founding fathers, his name is Robert Morris. He was the financier of the American Revolution. France paid for a large portion of for our ammo and equipment for the Revolutionary War. France was a big sponsor. 80-90% of the weapons were paid for by France. Another big chunk of that was paid for by Robert Morris, who, wound up in jail there. And he said to George Washington, who only lived 2 blocks away, he said, "Yo, you got to do something about this debtor thing." And George Washington said, "Yeah, I'm going to pardon you. Don't worry about it." And Robert Morris said, "No, don't pardon me. Just fix the goddamn problem." So this is actually the front of Independence Hall. If you ever look at the $100 bill, if you ever see the picture of the $100 bill, that's the back of it. That's on that bill. This is Commodore Barry. That's not just a man. It's not just a bridge. It's a man. He was an Irish immigrant who, he was like, the first American Rambo, the first, he was Irish American. The first Irish American Rambo. First American Rambo. Why we got to hyphenate? The first American Rambo. He fought not only in land, but he fought in the Battle of, not only did he fight in the ocean. The ocean? Yeah, I guess he fought in the ocean. He fought in the land, the Battle of Princeton. Badass. I think he sunk over like 10 boats. There's Independence Hall. There's Senate Hall. And that is the American Philosophical Society Museum. And that is the American Philosophical Society. It's like a club for very, very, very smart people. I think over 90 Nobel Prize winners belong to this club. Ben Franklin was the founder. The free library. Oh, I say that word horrible. The free library system. The free library not just the library system, not the free library system. Started there. That's a really cool statue of Ben Franklin. Okay. So this is, like I said, it's a Friday afternoon, about 1 o'clock. And It's pretty quiet. Yeah, there was a little line at the Liberty Bell, but that's because of the pandemic. They only limit like 20 people at a time. No, I don't have gas. These cars are driving over the Belgian blocks. See this building here? This is the Lafayette Building. You see, something fell. One of those, something fell off this building. So now they have all this stuff here to protect you for when you fall. So just if you're ever in the area, walk on this side. Well, that's what a park ranger told me, just in case anybody from the Lafayette sees this. I'm assuming. Okay, so this is Fifth and Chestnut. That building right there was the first Supreme Court. And the first Supreme Court justices didn't spend much time in the first Supreme Court. They traveled a lot. There you go. So this building is the second bank of the United States. It was around in the early 1800s. It's now, the guy I talked about earlier, Charles Wilson Peale, the guy who painted all the portraits, you can go inside this building and see the portraits he painted of the Founding Fathers. This was the second bank of the United States. And Andrew Jackson was the president when this charter was getting ready to expire. And he wanted this was a national bank. And he wanted the banks to be state-run. So on the day that charter expired, everybody took their money to the bank across the street, the Philadelphia Bank. And there's another bank right there. And and they were built to compete with this beautiful building. We'll walk this way, or we go back here? We are... Oh, construction. Oh, destruction, not construction. In 2026, everything down here, it'll be the 200th, well, if we make it, it will be the 250th anniversary. The bicentennial plus 50. What is that called? Let me know in the comments. So everything down here is going to be torn up for the next 3 to 4 years. They're going to open up the first bank of the United States. The house where Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence will be open. So if this is still up 5 years from now, 2026 is a great time to come to Philadelphia. There we are. So, this is the back. This is open all the time. People come here to take like wedding photos, or a lot of Instagrammers do their thing here. There he is, the financier of the American Revolution, Robert Morris. This is the guy I was talking about. This is the guy who gave us all the money to fight in the American Revolutionary War. I made this video about him, talking about how great he was and all this stuff. And you know what? It's a conversation you gotta have. He was a great guy. He did great things with. Well, was he a great guy? I don't know. He made his money on slave trade. So, yeah, that's how he got so rich, was the slave trade. And this is his statue of him. And this is what he really looked like. So, it's a good question. It's a good conversation. How can good men do evil things? Or how can evil men do good things? Oh, go across the street. This park is very yo. This park, every time I stop for a few seconds, just so you know, I have OCD. And I know I have OCD. But I have to touch my wallet, my phone, and my camera every so often, or I lose my mind. So if I stop for a few seconds, that's what's going on. So this was like a rose garden. Oh, it is a rose garden when it's not the winter. And there are roses that bloom here that are from Thomas Jefferson's estate. Monticello? Is that? Oh, that could be. That sounds right. Where did Thomas Jefferson live? If you know, let me know in the comments. So, these rose bushes here. Or maybe it was short. You know what? Let's see. Stay there, Scooter. So there, see, here's the rose bushes. From the signers of the U.S. Constitution, from the daughters of the American Revolution. It used to say where they were from. And the odds are, you see that little square box? That probably was a building of that time. They usually box out they box out. I'll show you. Now you gotta watch. You're gonna watch. You go, what the hell are you talking about? And this is an original cobblestone street. This is one of the original guys. No cement, just dirt. You can see the curb. I wonder what street this was. But yeah. And this is a great park to go to if you're coming into Philadelphia and you want to have like a little quiet and you want to eat lunch. There's benches and stuff back here. Nobody's ever in here. There might, in the springtime there might be 6 people. And also, if you need to get air conditioning, if you go to the Supreme Court, nobody ever goes in there. You can spend an hour in there by yourself. The park ranger's going to think you're goofy. But if you're cold or hot, you can go in there. It's also a gift shop in there. The prices in that one are a little high. The one at Carpenters Hall, where I'm going to next, I'll be going there soon. That's the cheapest gift shop in the city. If you're coming down, there's a store at like 7th and Chestnut called Five Below. They sell Philadelphia t-shirts. They sell Philadelphia magnets, all kinds of Philadelphia trinkets for $5 or less. So if you're going to buy a t-shirt that says Philly, you could pay $30 or $40 at the Constitution Center, or you could pay $5 at Five Below. Oh, see? Oh, wow, they're working on the Dolly Madison house. Uh-oh. Wow, they really are fixing up everything. This is where Dolly Madison lived. Dolly Madison was the president. She was the wife of James Madison. She invented a peach flavor ice cream, or she came up with a way to put peach flavoring in ice cream. In 1763, when she moved here, her husband and her son died of yellow fever on the same week. And if you see the glass in that window, you see how that's wavy? That means it's glass that's original to, that's 300-year-old glass. And this is a Victorian garden. This is what they would look like. There's another spot in the summer you can go to. That's pretty quiet, but they got some bees. And once this pandemic's over, I'm gonna do a tour. Huh? I'm videoing. Oh, I can stop. You see that? There's the Polish American Cultural Center. And I found out there's a radio station in there. 860 AM. American Workers Radio? Oh, I think that's what he said. I was, look at it. Look at these buildings. Look at that. That's beautiful. Look at that little brownstone. I think that's a brownstone. Oh, here we are. Oh, I forgot. This is the, oh, what is this called? The Merchant, oh, the Merchant Exchange Building. It was designed by architect Robert Strickland, who did the second bank of the United States. Maybe the first bank. Oh, why do I start talking about architects when I'm not certain? Oh. Alright. We'll go here, and then we'll start working our way to Carpenters Hall. Across the street is the home of Alexander Hamilton. Alexander Hamilton. Oh, if I sing anymore, I'm gonna get a copyright strike. And there it is. So this is where he lived, sorta. Just the space. Polish America Museum. That was a nice guy. Met it. Oh, I'm watching YouTube. Hey, how you doing? Hey, I'm YouTubing right now. Uh-oh. Hey. Toodles! Uh-oh. All right, so fantastic. Even more construction. There he is. And this is it's like going back in time. There it is. The first bank, you know what? I'm shooting buildings and not, oh, I apologize, guys. I'm not Scorsese today. Look at that. For the past, like, 5-10 years, this has just been like a storage place or an office for the park rangers. They really didn't do much with it. And because of the popularity of one Broadway musical, they're going to redo this whole building. They're going to jazz it up. This is the Museum of the American Revolution. The right behind that American flag is a little theater. And in that theater, they have the tent George Washington used when he lived in Valley Forge, when he stayed at Valley Forge. I guess he lived there for a bit. All right? And these are all cannons. Right? And these cannons all belong to the city of Philadelphia. They're on loan to this museum. I would really like to know where they were before they were there. So yeah, they have George Washington's tent, and every hour they play this movie. And yeah, you can go. Here you go. It's okay. Every hour they play this movie, and at the end of the movie, they dramatically reveal the tent. And if you've been following the channel, you know I'm a history nut. Hey, look, it's trash day. Every time I do these videos, it's trash day. You know I'm a history nut if you watch, some of the channels. So the one day I went in there, I watched the George Washington tent movie 3 or 4 times. It's a really okay museum, but that tent makes it. It may be the best museum in the city for the history stuff. And here's another Robert Strickland creation. This is National Mechanics. It's a bar, but it was a bank. Before I started YouTubing, I would just walk past these things, these buildings, these beautiful buildings. Like, uh-oh, wait a second, guys. I just crossed the street. I gotta go back. I'm sorry. When you see it, you gotta say hi. What do we got? Flemish Bond in Old City. That's not really that big of a deal. Okay. Again, as a society, let's throw out the trash better. Let's make it easier for the trash men. All right, this is Market Street, 3rd and Market. Uh-oh. Damn, it's still closed. All right, so this is like pathway to go see where Ben Franklin used to live. This is the post office. And if you see the post office here, there is not an American flag flown in front of this post office because this post office was made before America was a country. And Ben Franklin was the Postmaster General. Oh my God, they got construction going on in here. And if you go through this alleyway, which Ben Franklin himself walked through, if you look back there, that metal stuff, that's supposed to be the outline of his house. And this was... Here's an example of what a printing press... This is what a printing press would look like from the, the olden days. And this building here was the Aurora, and this was Ben Franklin's grandson's in-law, something like that. That was his office where he made a paper. There is Quincy. This is where Good Day Philadelphia, which was probably the highest ranked morning show a bunch of goofballs. But this is a great example of how Philadelphia embraces the history and moves on with the future. Because if you see, look, this is modern technology, even though it's Fox. And back there is Ben Franklin's house. Henry. There's the Philadelphia Bourse. This was the first stocks and commodity exchange in the United States. I think bourse is a French word for stock exchange, or I think that's what it is. And I mean, if you look at the building, it's just amazing. And inside's amazing. The consulate to Mexico is in there, so if you need representation from the country of Mexico, that's where you go. I don't know what a consulate does. This used to be a hoity-toity, the Ritz, a hoity-toity movie theater, and that was, I don't know if that closed because of the pandemic or if it closed before the pandemic. Oh, this is very exciting. Carpenters Hall, I haven't been here since prior to the election. I stocked up on postcards because prior to the election, I thought there was going to be mass riots. So, I didn't know what was going to happen, so I stocked up on postcards. And now it's time to buy some new postcards. And hopefully they got some new ones. I'm running out of postcards to buy people. And if you don't know what Carpenters Hall is, Carpenters Hall is the building where the First Continental Congress gathered together to write a letter to King George of England. If you didn't know, we thought England. So back in the the late 1770s, 12 of the 13 colonies sent representatives to come to this building, and they had to write a letter to King George because they were not happy with the amount of taxes they were charged. So they write this letter to the king, and they say, "Yo, king, you got to chill out with these taxes, Holmes." And the king says nothing, and we go to war, and that's it. And the building here, Carpenters Hall, which, dare I say, may be more historic than Independence Hall, because you don't get to Independence Hall unless you go to Carpenters Hall first. Look at that, we got some Flemish Bond. Oh, this building's outrageous. So let's get ready as we go inside. Oh, getting the postcards. All right, I'll see you later. There it is, Carpenters Hall, George Washington. Oh, it's very exciting. This is where the First Continental Congress met. I love this door. All right. Let's get the scooter set up. All right. Okay, we're walking back out of Carpenters Hall. Oh, you guys want to see something? I'm going to show you something that you can only see in this one spot. So this is, you go outside Carpenters Hall, and you go past, this is the First Bank of the United States. And there's this is like a storage bin for park rangers. I've never seen anyone go in these, but apparently that's what it's like. Next time I see a park ranger, I'm going to ask him. Okay, so that's enough of that. All right, this is what I'm going to show you. If you stand in this spot next to this outhouse, and if you look here, you could see 4 different centuries of architecture. That building there is Carpenters Hall. That building there is Carpenters Hall. That was built in the 1700s. That blue building back there, that's the Second Bank of the United States of America. That was built in the 1800s. That little building right there is it's a replica, and that was built in the 1900s. And if you look over there, you see that glass tower? That was built in the 2000s. So this is one of the only spots I know of where you can stand and see 4 centuries of architecture in one eye shot. I don't know many places that you can do that. And here, this is where Alexander Hamilton, you see these little square blocks? This is what I was talking about earlier. That little square box talks about how they tell you how big his office was. That's how big his office building was. It was 2 stories high. It wasn't that impressive. That's what some people wrote when they wrote about dealing with, I think it was a French guy. Went to go talk to him, and he was like, yeah, this place is, you see his office. It's not that impressive. But we were just starting off as a country. Leave us alone. All right, so let's go. There they are. There he is, George Washington. If you've ever been to Washington's Crossing in just north of Philadelphia, the river's not that big. the river's probably about the size of this street here. And the boats they crossed on were massive. So let's go down this little street. So all they had to do was paddle 2-3 times. There you go. That's an oldie. Oh boy. How does one walk down the street? You know what? There's nothing for the next 2 blocks. So I'm going to end this walk here, and I'm going to make another walk where I have 2 walks. One on this side of Market Street, and one on the other side of Market Street. Look at this. This is Elbow Lane. I've never been down Elbow Lane. Look at this. Uh-oh. Is this one of the blue brick streets? Oh, I think this is one of the blue brick streets. Oh, I'm so excited. It is! Oh! See? The street is paved in blue bricks. Oh, I love it. I've only seen one of these. It's, I think it's on Ludlow or something. Wow, this is awesome. Does anybody else think this is awesome that there's a street covered in blue bricks and nobody like really knows why? Does anybody else? Oh, I'm gonna end this here. As soon as we get to the blue brick road. All right. Well, make sure you hit like and subscribe, and I'll sail with you later. Trying to find a spot to end it. Oh, how can I not? I gotta. Toodles!